I want to show you a couple more automations for, as I mentioned, a little bit of inspiration, but also so that maybe now that you understand the logic to basically know that. And the first one, sorry, I need to, great. So the first one, automation is, as we've seen here, we already know that we have received all of these people who have confirmed to us, yes, I want to participate in your event. And the email confirmation, the calendar event went out. They went out automatically. How does it actually look in Airtable? And basically what happens, because I showed you just the building blocks. And we go here, and this is, but by the way, what I'm showing you here is Airtable, which I mentioned earlier is one of the main tools you're going to be working with. And while we were looking at the data originally, which is the data that came in through the form you saw, now we're going to look at automations. And this is where you start to build the automations based on the data that you have collected through your form. And this is actually quite neat in Airtable because it helps you to build your automations. Because as you see it here, this is the words I was actually using. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. The words I was using earlier, I was using the word trigger, and I was using the word, well, tasks or actions. So what we have here was, as I showed you before, we have a trigger, which is when a form is submitted, we automatically send an email and a Google Calendar event. Now, maybe you're in a situation that you say, you know what, I don't want to accept everyone to this event. I want to be able to select who is going to take part in this. And this is a use case that you can have for an event, but you could have it because you have somebody applying to a job in your company, or maybe somebody who's applying to your program, or generally a process in your company that requires some sort of
verification.
Verification or manual review before sending out some confirmation. So what we have added here to this table is a certain field which we called the accept application field. And essentially what you can do here is you can say, by the way, we can look at the record, for instance, here. This is dummy data, by the way, so don't worry.
Great, I was just thinking that.
No, so we want to decide whether to accept someone based on their application form. So we want to look at, for instance, why is somebody wanting to participate to this webinar? And we say, you know what, this person answered in a very short manner. We don't want to accept this application. So we selected no. And we go to the next application and we see that, actually this person told that she's going to have workday in her company. So I think this is somebody who should be fairly motivated to take part. So we want to accept her application, right? And based on this action, we're gonna, this application of Kinga that we just looked at comes up into a different view. And only now we can change the automation. So only Kinga, after I have actually accepted her application, is going to get this this confirmation email. So that's essentially an automation that shows you can create a very simple one and then build on top of that. The next thing I want to show you is something that is maybe not necessarily an automation, but it builds on top of automation. It's more like a, let's call it a dashboard. So we had all these people who submitted their participation in the event. We had some sort of let's say goal for this event, and we want to know, did we achieve the goal? Like how many people did actually sign up for this webinar? So this is another tab in Airtable. We are still in Airtable, and effectively what you can now see is that, oh, look, I have my event, which is this workday event. I have a sign up goal, which I put here manually, and thanks to some, let's say, actions in Airtable, I can calculate automatically how many people signed up, and also automatically calculate, okay, I'm at 70% of my goal, right? And again, you can do this for event signups, but you can use this, for instance, we have something that's a little bit more complicated maybe, but also quite useful, is that maybe you have people who buy your product in installments. And thanks to Airtable, you can build this kind of interface. Of course, you record all the payments in your Airtable, but then you can look, okay, I have 2 programs that I'm running, and I have 3 people and 4 people who are paying for this in installments. And essentially what it tells me here, I can calculate what's the full amount this person has paid me, what's the outstanding amount they still have to pay me, and how many installments they have paid. And all of this is built on top of this list of events that we have collected. This might sound like, again, a little bit step 2 of learning automation, but it's why I'm showing you this is because it's actually really within your fingertips and at your reach to build this and to kind of slowly build up your use cases based on what you need. The third example I want to show you before we actually go into, and I'm looking for this. Great. The third example I want to show you is moving away a little bit from Airtable. And again, I don't want to go into the details of the tools because at this point right now, it's not the most important thing, but I want to open your mind a little bit of what automation can help you do.
Showing the possibilities, basically.
Exactly. Showing the possibilities and showing that, again, you start with the basics and slowly you build up. So this automation is about collecting documents and extracting data from documents.
Favorite tasks of everyone,
Exactly.
especially me.
I think anyone who's organized an event, there are usually some kind of expenses related to this event that you have to collect, and you have to either give to your accountant or you need to do your accounts yourself. And it's really, and maybe you need to keep track of a budget, and you need to know, like, okay, what did I actually spend? And this is a neat little automation that is using ChatGPT to essentially, what I'm showing you here is an email I got. In this case, I got an email with an invoice.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks to this automation, I can literally just forward this email to make, it doesn't matter right now, but let's say to the automation tool and to the automation I built. And what it does, it puts the invoice I just showed you into this neat little folder. So I have all the invoices here, and I know that this is what I need to pass to my accountant. And by the way, it also named my invoice very nicely, because as you might have seen here, there's some weird name. And also very nicely, it adds this invoice to my beautiful Google Sheet. You see here the name of the invoice, but actually you have the invoice number and the amount and the currency, and I didn't need to do all of that manually. So this is just to, and I'm sure this is an application that will be useful for basically most of you. And before, okay, pause. I hope this will be helpful for all of you. And one thing that I want to actually say here also is that we mentioned earlier that as a starter, often I mentioned that one thing I come across is this idea that, oh my God, I can automate everything. And that means that I'm not an expert and I can't do it. The other thing is also that I see when starting to learn, the idea that I see an example, and then I think, okay, but Natalie just showed me an example of how to archive an invoice. I don't deal with invoices, so this automation is not applicable to me. But actually, all the automations I just showed you now, whether it's about collecting events or accepting someone because I reviewed their application, or I'm sort of analyzing these documents in case these are invoices, or I'm having a dashboard where I'm tracking some sort of installments. Mm-hmm. These are all things that you can use in different situations as well. For instance, this is something that I think is really important, to use these examples as inspiration. Of course, you can copy them, but you can use them also to adjust them to your use case. So maybe you're working in HR and probably you will manage a lot of contracts, and you have some data that when you sign a contract with someone, you need to bring into your HR system. So you can use this automation by tweaking it a little bit, and rather than extracting invoice data, you might extract someone's address, someone's name, parcel number, etc., and you can take them to your system.